iPhone 11 Pro Max versus Galaxy Fold. I've had both of these phones for quite some time now. The 11 Pro Max since launch, and this is the revised edition of the Fold, not the first one that was all messed up and had to be revised. This is the revised edition. Now, the price point of the 11 Pro Max comes in at around $1249 here for the 256 gig, but it goes way up if you go to the 512. And depending on where you're at, Apple does inflate the prices on the Apple devices depending on where you're located globally. So it could be more or less for you. And keep in mind that 512 gigs for the 11 Pro Max is going to run you pretty close to the Galaxy Fold at over $1,500. Galaxy Fold is it's 1980, excuse me. And it's kind of a reason that is, number one, it's a very bold, daring attempt here to try something new for Samsung. Number two, they actually went all out on this phone. They gave you kind of two batteries in one here. It makes up for like 4380 milliamp hours, but still, you have a groundbreaking design. You have incredible storage on here, 512 gigs. So this is an all-out phone. Samsung gave it everything they had here for the time being. And yes, it wasn't 100%, durable and all that in terms of getting the screen scratched up and dust on the inside, but still, they gave it all they had here for the time being. Now, talking about their designs, they couldn't be more different. Over here for the 11 Pro Max, if you decide to invest in a phone like this, you're going to get your typical slab style device. There is a notch in the 11 Pro Max up here, which is still something a lot of people want to see go away on their next iPhones. It's there, so it looks similar all the way dating back to the iPhone 10. However, the screen is a lot brighter here on the 11 Pro Max. You do have stainless steel sides for this device, and you also do have some pretty tactile buttons with the iconic silent switch. Now over here, you can see on the right side, we do have ourselves the power button and pretty much nothing else but antenna lines at the top and the bottom. Also, a square camera bump leaves the impression that this is a 2019 device and maybe even 2020 because this is kind of the trend right now, the square camera bumps and a frosted material on the back. So overall, I would say premium, but not too daring design. Whereas the Galaxy Fold attempts to break your habits of what you're used to in a smartphone, but it's also a lot thicker while doing that. That hinge is the reason it's so much thicker. On the bottom, you can see it looks like it's two phones smashed in one. And overall, what's really nice about the Fold is how narrow it is, but it does have some pretty chunky bezels on the front. And this 4.6-inch display is pretty cramped. A lot of people have talked about this, but I kind of like it because I like having a tiny phone on the front. And then when I'm ready to go ahead and do something a little more serious, I get into that big screen and I have like a tablet-like experience. I mean, this is such a different experience from the closed position to the open position on the Galaxy Fold. It's just way different here than, using the front side. Now, there's also a slight, it's super slight, but a slight gap allows you to see kind of through the Galaxy Fold. I don't know if the camera's showing this, but there's a little bit of a gap in there. So you could potentially get something in there if you don't protect this well. On the right side of the design, you do see a camera bump there. We also do see volume rockers along with the SIM card tray. This does not support any SD card storage, a fingerprint scanner, which I love when it's a hardware base because it's very accurate. We do have a power button right there. At the top, just another speaker for the stereo sound. On the back, we have a triple camera here, and we do have a flash right there. And then USB-C at the bottom with that other stereo speaker. On the open position of the Fold, you do have yourself that notch right there, and there's a bezel that runs around the edges, but it kind of disappears, and there is a little bit of a crease in the display, but again, doesn't really bother you too much considering what you're using here and something very innovative with that flexible OLED on the interior display. Now, the interior display is plastic, so that's something to keep in mind. If you are worried about, durability, this is probably not the phone for you if you're not careful with your devices. Now, in terms of their build quality, the 11 Pro Max feels like a tank. This device, it's super sturdy. Glass on the back and front are both stronger than ever before. For the 11 Pro Max, the stainless steel is a super hard material. The only thing I would be a little bit concerned about is scratching. The display on the 11 Pro Max tends to scratch easy if you don't have a screen protector on it. Other than that, this phone is a monster in durability. The camera bump here is very minor compared to before. I still would probably put a case just to protect these lenses because that's what you're putting your money into is the cameras on this phone. So I would put a case to protect it. Now, durability for the Galaxy Fold is actually quite good on the outside of the phone. When it's closed, it's actually pretty similar to any other smartphone. It doesn't really creak too much at all. It feels well put together. The front feels sturdy. The back feels sturdy. It feels like a typical smartphone, like in terms of, durability. In terms of thickness, it feels narrow and thick. But when you open it up, things start to get a little bit interesting. You get a little bit nervous about this plastic display. You can't use your nail and scroll with this thing. You'll scratch it up. Also, if you get dust or anything on there, certain fine particles could scratch the display. It's not as bad as it seems though. Like, as long as you're just a little bit conscious of what you're doing with this phone, it shouldn't be a big problem. This phone can demagnetize credit cards, so you have to keep it away from those though. But other than that, just be careful with the inside display, and I think you'll be fine with the Galaxy Fold. It's just not something I would use in harsh environments. So like if you're at the beach or whatever, I get a waterproof case for this. Or if you're outside and the wind's blowing and there's rocks blowing all over the place, I would keep it closed and use it in this form until you're somewhere that's a little bit more controlled, like your office, maybe inside the car where there's not stuff blowing all around can mess up your display. So it just takes that, and you can live with the Galaxy Fold quite easily. I will say over time, it starts to get a little bit looser. This hinge, it's not as tight as when I first got the device. It does loosen up a little bit, but on the whole, the Galaxy Fold, I think for a first attempt, feels pretty nice. Again, that interior display can be really easily messed up if you're not careful, but the phone overall feels quite durable. All right, so which one has the better display? Now, for me, it's the Galaxy Fold easily in terms of, what you can do with it. The 11 Pro Max, though, has a brighter display in my experience. So it's a brighter display and it's more durable, obviously, than the Galaxy Fold. But the Galaxy Fold is something of a marvel when it comes to display because of what you can do with this display. It comes down to the multitasking on this display. So we can open up these different applications in one and it just kind of works seamlessly together. Now we can even pop one more in here like YouTube, for example, and let's go to the trending page and you could see 3 applications at once. And this is something you just cannot do for the 11 Pro Max. As you can see right there, 1 app at a time. Now, this is what everybody's used to, 1 app at a time, but this is the future of productivity, I feel like. And you could also move these around a little bit. And over here, you can click this and you could also bring in a pop view window and move it around. So this is really kind of like a little, tablet computer here with the Galaxy Fold versus a single tasking app phone, which is the iPhone. So I think that the displays are going to appeal more to, I think the Galaxy Fold display is going to appeal a lot more to business users and people who multitask a lot. And I think people who just that's just overwhelming to them. They just need something simple. I still think the iPhone will win out for them. Now, in terms of overall color rendition, it's pretty similar. They're both OLED. Although this is a plastic display, the crease can sometimes be visible. It's not too visible for the most part. And overall, they both look fantastic. It's just the Fold feels so much newer and different than something like the 11 Pro Max. So let's go ahead and take a look at a video and see how they both do render out a video. So you can kind of see right there just how small the preview is versus the preview on the Galaxy Fold. The Galaxy Fold is like 2 iPhone 11 Pro Maxes in the same like square. And when we turn it off to the side, it's no comparison. Check this out. Right there, we're looking at $1449 on this device with taxes. That's well over $1,500. Already in 2020, there's not many phones. Don't get me wrong. This is a fantastic phone to watch video on. Nobody's going to be upset about watching video on 11 Pro Max, but watching video on the Galaxy Fold is another story. Now, some have mentioned how the black bars are, kind of getting in the way here, and it doesn't really make a big difference because this is the whole, resolution I could see here. This has black bars. This is only YouTube. On Netflix, Prime Video, Hulu, stuff like that, you can stretch the whole video. And if you're watching your own personalized videos, like ones you download onto the phone, you can stretch the screen as well in certain media applications. So it's just YouTube that does this. So YouTube does show black bars. So of course, the Galaxy Fold, in terms of a media experience, is just beating the 11 Pro Max, no matter how you slice. The 11 Pro Max is a portrait phone. It cannot even go into any landscape rotation in terms of the home screens, which gives it more of a phone feel, whereas the Galaxy Fold can feel like a phone or like a tablet. All right, so the differences in software are the same as any other Samsung versus iPhone. So we're not going to talk much about those. It's just, Android more customizable, iOS, lockdown, the grid of icons. There are dark modes on both. There's a lot of similar applications in the App Store versus the Play Store. You can get all your mainstream stuff that you need out of both of these phones. So there's really not much to discuss in the way of software differences. You know, the updates are going to be a little bit slower here for Galaxy Fold versus the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and even slower for Fold because Fold is still a newer technology. Samsung's still focusing on their mainstream products. So this hasn't even got Android 10 for me yet. iPhone 11 Pro Max is going to be well updated into the future. So from a software standpoint, the 11 Pro Max is probably a better investment if you're keeping the phone a long time. But just for everything you could do, I don't think software is one of my concerns with the Galaxy Fold just because this device is so different. Now with performance, I will say one thing. The A13 in this iPhone 11 Pro Max is a little faster than the Snapdragon 855 in the Galaxy Fold, but it's not enough faster to make any real difference in the day-to-day. However, the Galaxy Fold with 12 GBs of RAM can easily out multitask the iPhone 11 Pro Max in terms of holding applications in the background and actually using multiple ones at the same time. And even if you have multiple apps open at the same time on 11 Pro Max, you still have to go through them individually. They will probably reload before they will on the Galaxy Fold. So the Galaxy Fold has great RAM management and it also has excellent multitasking abilities with solid and strong performance, can play almost any game on the Play Store, and it plays those games very well. And unlike with the video, you can see the games, they will play in the full screen here for the Galaxy Fold. So this is like super amazing if you're into gaming. One of the best gaming experiences you're gonna have here for the Galaxy Fold. Now, in terms of battery life, you would think that, well, the 11 Pro Max is the best on the market, and it is one of the best on the market. I'm finding the battery life on both of these quite similar. They both can easily get through a day, and both can stretch into 2 days rather easily. And the Galaxy Fold does last longer if you have it closed, and if you have it open, it will drain a little bit more battery in my experience, obviously, because you're powering a much larger display here. Now, when it comes to their cameras, they are both a triple camera setup, and just like with a lot of the other things in this video you're noticing, they're pretty similar. So I got this watch here. I'm gonna take a picture of this watch here with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And you can see it will focus in, boom. We can also go wide angle on here. And there we go, and punch in on that telephoto. Now, honestly, the video is where the iPhone 11 Pro Max shines, really. You can do 4K 60, and you could do that on the Fold as well, but it just looks so good on the iPhone. I cannot describe it. You just have to use it to see it. It just looks fantastic. I've even made many videos on YouTube already with this camera, and people don't even notice. As a matter of fact, I get more compliments sometimes with this camera than any camera I've used on this channel. So let's take a look at the Galaxy Fold's camera here. And you could see what's really nice, and you're noticing already in this video, is just that massive viewfinder of this camera. Now you could punch in 2x right here as well. And the picture quality on the Galaxy Fold easily rivals that of the 11 Pro Max. So if you bought this phone, you don't have to worry much about the camera performance. The video also can rival the 11 Pro Max. However, I will state one thing about the video on the Galaxy Fold. The autofocus does come in and out a little bit as it does with some other phones, but on the whole, just the framing, it's just so beautiful to make a video on here. It's so beautiful to frame a photo. It's just so fun because of how big the viewfinder is. But which one does better when it comes to that front-facing camera? And for me, that's still gonna be the iPhone. While this is a really good front-facing camera, 10 megapixels, can do 4K on the front, it doesn't quite beat out the 11 Pro Max when it comes to the results, and the results are what matter. So if you care about the selfies, I still think the 11 Pro Max is the way to go. The selfies just look so good from this phone that you're gonna be very happy if you like to take photos of yourself with any of the iPhone 11 series devices. And the audio quality. And which one has better audio quality? Well, I think the Galaxy Fold actually gets louder than the 11 Pro Max, but we'll test that out here right now. Phones that offer such a premium build around the edges like the 11 Pro Max or 10s Max. You also notice that the 11 Pro Max got a slimmer camera bump. The 11 Pro Max has a more clean, well over 1500. Already in 2020, there's not many phones that offer such a premium build around the edges like the 11 Pro Max or 10s Max. You also notice that the 11 Pro Max got a slimmer camera bump. The 11 Pro So the Galaxy Fold is most definitely louder than that of the 11 Pro Max. All right, so talking about phone call quality. Now, the Fold #1 right off the bat has better phone call quality and reception due to the Qualcomm modems in here. But there's a big difference here. With the Fold, you cannot make a phone call in terms of putting this up to your ear on the inside display. I don't know why you would want to anyway. That would look a little bit strange. You can use it with the speakerphone on the inside display. But overall, I gotta say that it feels pretty nice to make a phone call because it's narrow, kind of like those older phones back in the days. It feels pretty natural actually to make a phone call with the Galaxy Fold. And because it's thick, I'm not worried about this phone slipping out of your hand too easily. 11 Pro Max is kind of what we're used to with smartphones by now. A pretty solid phone experience here with great speakers for speakerphone quality. And that's it. Which one is the better phone? Is it the 11 Pro Max or is it the Galaxy Fold? Well, for me, it's the Galaxy Fold. And the reason why is just because it's so different. It's unique. It offers you more than just a phone. It offers you a tablet, and the specs are easily competitive with the 11 Pro Max. Using the Fold and then using the iPhone 11 Pro Max, for me, it's just boring to use the 11 Pro Max after using the Fold. However, it's all going to be relative to you like Samsung or not. If you don't like Samsung, the iPhone is still the better choice here. Also, if you're a reckless person and you're not careful with your investment, the Fold can be a huge mistake to buy right now. If you're the type of person who knows you're not going to pay attention to how you care for it and stuff like that, the Fold can easily get nicked up, messed up, especially on the inside. But so if you're reckless but you still want a premium badass phone, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is going to be the way to go. So what are your thoughts? Which one would you choose? The iPhone 11 Pro Max or the Galaxy Fold? Are these phones on your list of something you're going to acquire someday if you haven't already? Or you're just like past these, you're like, nope, don't care. Want the Galaxy S20, I want the S20 Ultra, I want the iPhone 12. I don't care about these 2019 phones. They're only 6 months old, but they're dated. They're dinosaurs already. Let us know down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.